Welcome to Activist Archives. Today we're exploring the life of a man whose message of peace, equality, and justice continues to resonate across the world, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We all know the famous line from his I Have a Dream speech, but the man behind that dream and the movement he inspired is so much more than just one speech. Today we'll discover his life, his activism, and the enduring impact of his work in the fight for civil rights in America. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, to Reverend Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King. Growing up in the segregated South, King experienced firsthand the hardships that Black people faced in America. His family was deeply rooted in a tradition of activism, with his father being a prominent pastor and civil rights leader. Here's something interesting. Martin's original name was actually Michael King Jr. His father changed both his and his son's name to Martin Luther King after a trip to Germany, honoring the Protestant reformer Martin Luther. As a young man, King excelled in his studies at Morehouse College, where Dr. Benjamin Mays became his mentor. King went on to earn his divinity degree at Crozer Theological Seminary and later his PhD in systematic theology at Boston University. King's activism gained momentum in the 1950s with the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955. At just 26 years old, he led the 381-day protest that eventually led to the Supreme Court ruling segregation on public buses unconstitutional. By the 1960s, King had become the face of the civil rights movement. The March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom in 1963 drew over 250,000 people to the Lincoln Memorial, where King delivered his historic I Have a Dream speech. In his later years, King expanded his focus to economic justice, founding the Poor People's Campaign. He also became a vocal critic of the Vietnam War. Tragically, on April 4, 1968, he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, where he had been supporting striking sanitation workers. Today, Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy continues to inspire movements for racial justice, equality, and peace worldwide. His philosophy of nonviolent resistance has influenced countless activists, and his vision of a nation where people are judged by the content of their character remains a powerful force for change. Thank you for joining us today on Activist Archives. Remember, King's work isn't finished. It's up to all of us to continue the fight for justice and equality.